What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Sweezy NBA channel. With the 2026 NBA trade deadline getting closer by the day, the NBA rumor mill is officially going crazy. And today, we need to talk about two situations that could shape up the league. One involves a young, rising player who feels stuck in his role. The other involves one of the biggest stars of the past decade, whose future might finally be up in the air. Jonathan Kuminga requesting a trade away from the Warriors, and Anthony Davis potentially being available at the trade deadline. Let's break down how we got here, why this matters, and what happens next. Let's start with Jonathan Kuminga. When Kuminga was drafted, the idea was simple. He would be the bridge between the Steph Curry era and the Warriors' future. Elite athleticism, strong frame, defensive versatility, and flashes of real shot creation upside. But years later, that vision hasn't fully materialized, and it's not entirely because of Kuminga. Golden State has always prioritized ball movement, spacing, veteran trust, and mistake-free basketball. For young players, especially ones who thrive on rhythm, that can be a tough environment. Kuminga's minutes have fluctuated constantly. One week, he's starting, guarding elite wings and scoring efficiently. The next week, he's playing little minutes, getting pulled after one mistake, or not playing at all. And according to reports, that uncertainty has led Kuminga to request a trade, looking for a situation where he can be a featured option, develop through mistakes, and grow into the player he believes he can be. This isn't just about frustration, it's about timing. Kuminga is entering a crucial phase of his career. If he waits too long, he risks being labeled as a bench warmer or just a role player. If he moves now, he still has the upside label attached. From the Warriors' perspective, this creates a serious dilemma. Do they trade Kuminga while he has some value? Do they use him as a centerpiece in a bigger deal? Or do they risk keeping an unhappy young player on a team built around veterans? And remember, Steph Curry's window is not infinite. With Steph still playing some elite basketball and Jimmy Butler making $50 million a year, the Warriors should be in win now mode. So every move Golden State makes now has to answer one question. Does this help us win right now? This is where it gets interesting. If Kuminga is truly available, there will be no shortage of suitors. Rebuilding teams see him as a potential cornerstone. Mid-tier teams see him as a breakout candidate, and contenders see him as a high upside gamble. Teams with cap flexibility and young cores could offer him exactly what he wants: minutes, usage, and patience. Meanwhile, Golden State might prioritize a reliable veteran scorer, a defensive anchor, or even some draft capital to reload around Curry. This could easily turn into a multi-team deal, especially if Kuminga is used as a secondary piece in a much bigger trade. Which brings us to the other name dominating this deadline: Anthony Davis. While nothing is guaranteed, multiple insiders suggest the Mavericks are at least open to listening, and that alone says a lot. Anthony Davis is still one of the most impactful players in the NBA when he's healthy. He has elite rim protection, defensive player of the year level ability, and when he's healthy, a matchup nightmare on offense. But the key phrase there is when healthy. When the Mavericks dealt for AD, the idea was simple: a defensive anchor that will help us win now. Now the Mavericks are stuck at a crossroads. They aren't even close to good enough to contend. Anthony Davis is hurt again and will miss some time, and the team is looking to center their team around a young up-and-coming Cooper Flagg. Plus, the trade value for Anthony Davis is at an all-time low. If the Mavericks decide to move Anthony Davis, it would signal a big shift, possibly prioritizing younger players, draft flexibility, and a clearer long-term direction centered around Cooper Flagg. If Anthony Davis becomes available, the league shuffles a bit. Contenders would line up immediately. One move could turn a second-round team into a finals favorite, completely shift conference power dynamics, and force other contenders to respond. And unlike Kuminga, this isn't about potential. This is about immediate championship impact. The question is whether the Mavericks are ready to accept what comes next. Fan backlash, a possible reset, and the end of a short little era in Dallas Mavericks history. Because once you trade a player like Anthony Davis, there's no going back. What makes this trade deadline so compelling is that it's not just about contracts or stats. It's about timelines colliding. Young players want opportunity now. Veterans want one last run. Front offices are stuck choosing between patience and urgency. Jonathan Kuminga represents the future demanding space. Anthony Davis represents the past asking for one more chance. And depending on how these situations unfold, this deadline could quietly become one of the most influential in recent NBA history. Now, I want to hear from you. Should the Warriors move Jonathan Kuminga? And if so, what should they get back? And if Anthony Davis is truly on the table, which team should push to get him? Drop your takes in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one for some more NBA content.